Welcome to the Rocky and Meisty Show presented by Jew Stool. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Let's get right into it.
You're completely missing the boat, Amr. You're at the wrong dock.
I'd have to say this. If he's looking to go to a new team, the last thing he wants to do is be like, oh, I'm not playing. No, he's got to show up. And he's got to show the Browns, you just lost $250 million by not playing, by not giving me that money. You're going to give it to him? Go for it.
This is crazy. Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins for 5 picks. Second position. Should we end the podcast now? I bet the breaking news. Should we end it now? Now or later? Which one? I walk out right now. The Vikings going to the division. Here first.
That's asinine. You're crazy.
He's got the full package.
No way. I don't care. No way. I can't even. It's hard to even look at you right now when you say something like that. That's crazy.
We want to talk about legacy-defining plays and legacy-defining throws. 13 seconds, and you get the ball in field goal range. That is absolutely insane.
I'm going to be frank with you guys. Mitch Trubisky is not a good NFL quarterback. He has never been.
Okay. And guess what? In basketball, you use the basketball. In football, you use the football.
Start. Ready to roll?
Ready to roll. Hit it.
All right, everyone. Everyone ready for another weekend of football? You know, Meisty texted me something very funny. He's like, day 1 of 2 without football, getting through it. It's tough. I forgot the exact tweet, but the exact text that he sent me. But it's tough, not easy. Definitely need to develop some healthy coping mechanisms to help us get through those 2 days without football. But what's underrated, Meisty? Actually, Friday and Saturday we also have 2 days without football. But you sort of like the whole Sunday's coming up. It's different.
There's college football. There's always college football in those days.
Right. No, fair enough. There also might be college football during the week. But anyway, we're back for another exciting week. We have actually an interview with Yehuda Edelstein coming up later. But before we get to that, we have a lot of exciting stuff as well. He's going to help us with the pick'ems. He's going to compete 1-on-1 or 1-on-3, I guess, against us. 1-on-4. Well, we'll see. But that's to be determined. Point being that we're going to have an exciting interview over there. We have some great headlines to talk about. We have Monday Night Football, which we did not get to discuss because, we recorded right before. But for all those that watched the podcast, they saw us run out of the podcast to watch Monday Night Football. So there's a lot to talk about there. Obviously, a very compelling game. Some big injuries in the NFL over here. Dak Prescott, T.J. Watt, maybe a couple updates regarding those injuries that we're going to get to as well. Talk about some interesting trends in Vegas this week in terms of the spreads, in terms of the money lines. And we'll get to Meistys Moneyline, the absolute lock of the absolute week. We'll get to that a little later as well. Okay, let's well, first of all, guys, I know last week we discussed the fantasy fantasy drafts, ride or die type of guy. I don't know if you guys remember who your ride or die guy was, but did he pull through for you? Did your best guy pull through for you this week? That's what I want to know, Meisty.
He sure did. I don't have his numbers off the top of my head. I wish I did, but he sure did. And everyone who said, "Oh, that's a silly play." All right, this is the year of healthy NFL players. I know we just had 2 big injuries, but we've had some, this is the year of health. Amen.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so. Having Christian McCaffrey, I think my ride or die was actually kind of a bust. I think it was Derrick Henry, only 8.2 points, my first round draft pick, so not great for me.
That's not very good.
I thought Derrick Henry, though, I think the Titans saw something, or he saw something, or he felt something, I should say, during the first half of the first quarter, and he was like, I don't know if I should get so much rep. Because at some point he was just helmet off on the sideline, and he didn't get hurt. They didn't say he got hurt. I think they just took it easy. It's his first game back. They're going to let him get into it. There's nothing to rush. The division, they should still be able to make a playoff spot. Maybe. So.
Yeah, Derrick Henry was an interesting phenomenon. And now Eli Mitchell got injured. I mean, I drafted him, so he's on the IR. Who knows how long he's going to be out for. So already week 1, you already have injuries derailing fantasy rosters. I said last week Javonte Williams would be my ride or die guy. He played all right. Problem was I was in too big of a deficit, Morty, to come back. So Morty ended up taking the 10-point victory last week. And actually this week I'm playing against you, Meisty. How about that? From one side to the other. I don't know about the screens. On my screen, Morty's on one side and Meisty's on the other.
Morty's
but the screen
here, Rocky's here.
For me, it's right. For you, it's different. But for me, this looks funny. So anyway, from one to the other. Point being that it's going to be a good game. Meisty made the best man win, and I need a replacement for Eli Mitchell. So my ride or die guy ended up panning out pretty well, too. So let's get right into it because Monday Night Football was very compelling. Aside from the boos in the beginning of the game from the Seahawks, and there were people saying, "Listen, say Russell Wilson requested a trade. Maybe they did. Those boos were well deserved." Point being that the thing that everyone wants to know: what happened at the end of the game? What's going on? It's 4th and 5, and you let all 40 seconds of the game clock burn out, only to kick a 64-yard field goal with 20 seconds left. It made no sense. Everyone has been talking about it the last couple days, but who else has been talking about it? That is Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach for the Denver Broncos, actually reacted. A reporter actually asked him about that decision, about kicking a 64-yard field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 5. Take a look over here.
Looking back at it, we definitely should have gone for it. Just not one of those things. You look back at it and you say, of course we should go for it. We missed the field goal. But in that situation, we had a plan. We had a plan. We knew that 46 was the mark. We were 3rd and 15, I think, 3rd and 13. I'm more upset about that play before it, to lose yards, to be able to, getting that there would have definitely been better to be able to call that same play and get extra yards. But he dumps it out to Javonte. Javonte makes a move, goes a lot farther than I think we had anticipated. We were expecting to go for it on 4th down, and then you hit the mark. The mark that we had all set before we started. We said 46 yards. 46-yard line was where we wanted to be, and we got there. So we had to make the decision if we wanted to give it to Brandon, and we did. And it didn't work. It sucks, but hey, that's part of it.
Did he think he was playing in Denver? Did he?
You're saying you don't agree with the strategy?
There was so many things wrong, and he had 3 timeouts, right? He had 3 timeouts. Call it timeout. You gotta go for it. You ride or die with it. That is. He knows it. He said it himself. It was just a silly. It's a silly play, and then. I always say, I was saying this when I was watching it on Monday night. I said that Russell Wilson will play 3.5 quarters of perfect football, coming down the field, and will always mess it up on the last drive. Ever since the Super Bowl, it's just repeat. It's the same thing. So, that's just it hurts to see Russell Wilson lose that way. In a game where he probably should have won, could have won. But once again, I don't know what. It's still even if it was like a regular, even if it was Justin Tucker, not in a dome, you would still be like, I don't know. That's right. Like, that's very far, right? Maybe we should go for it. I don't even think there was a thought process. There was never even a thought process to go for it. I was always like, no.
There's only been one 64-yarder, except aside from Justin Tucker's 66-yarder last year. That was it. There's only been one 64-yarder that's ever been hit in the history of the NFL. So 2 64+ in the history of the NFL. So for your strategy to be, let's get to the 46 and just get him in the 64-yard field goal range. I don't really understand where the strategy is there. I agree with you, Meisty. But after the fact, meaning you already burnt 40 seconds, you already burnt the entire game clock, and now you are going to go ahead and call a timeout with 20 seconds left in the game, it's a little more feasible to kick the field goal. But you can't look at it like that. You can't look at it like, after the fact, now that you already made a stupid decision by not calling timeout 30 seconds ago, now you kick the field goal. You should have called a timeout with 55 seconds left. It didn't make any sense. And also, his response was interesting because I don't blame him for, sometimes you regret decisions you make. And especially, he was first game as a head coach. Maybe he didn't have everything calculated. Generally teams, by the way, it's something people don't know. Generally, teams have it planned out beforehand. Listen, if it's 4th and 5, we go for it. If it's 4th and 8, we do have this play. If it's 4th and 11, we have this play. They have it planned out whether or not they'll go for it, depending on the down and distance, Meisty. A lot of people have that, and they don't realize that they're not making a decision on the spot many times. A lot of times, they know exactly what they're about to do. But it could be first game. He didn't talk to the analytics team. Every team has an analytics person on their staff. Maybe he didn't talk to the analytics team. I don't know what it was, but clearly they were not prepared for it. There was a brain freeze, and then they made the wrong decision as a result.
You would have to wonder as well what the offensive coordinator was thinking through the process. Why he wasn't saying, "Hey, what are we doing? Why are we not going for it?" Somebody, I know we put it on the coach, but even Russell Wilson just was like, all right, cool. This is you've been playing for what? How long has he been in the league? 10 years now, 15 years, whatever he's been a long time. Not been that long. Has it been that long?
Oh, Russell, yeah, it's been a while.
Anyway,
It's been a while.
even he's got to look at his coaching and be like, I've seen this mistake made before. We can't. We got to throw the ball, coach. You know. So, it's all around mistakes, and we'll give them to them for week 1. We're not going to overreact to it, but yeah, it was just a blown play.
There was certainly a lot of miscommunications going on, and I don't know if you were watching the Manning cast, but Peyton Manning was going nuts because he was on the Broncos for a short amount of time, so he was going nuts. He's like, call the timeout, call the timeout, call the timeout. Do we have that clip, Morty? I think we have that clip. We'll show it for everyone to Peyton Manning trying to get those timeouts in there. Take a look over here.
We got 3 timeouts, E. I might use one right here, E. Let's use one. Let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this one. They're gonna try to draw. They can try to draw them off sides. Might try to draw them off sides, E.
You don't have that much time.
Snap count.
You don't want to waste that much time, I don't think.
Yeah, I think we should call timeout like now.
I think they're running a play. They look unsettled. Sutton doesn't know what he's doing. Hurry up. Timeout.
What the? So you just burned 30 seconds to call a timeout?
Ding, 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 ding. I found that very comical. Peyton was going nuts. The entire last few minutes, they were going nuts. And Shannon Sharp's also a Broncos fan because he played on the Broncos. So they were all going nuts. It was hilarious up there in the Manning cast. But anyway, definitely not the wisest decisions by the Broncos, much like the Bengals did, and we reacted to that in week 1. But on a flip side of things, like Geno Smith looked great in this game, Meisty. 23 for 28. I mean, that completion percentage looks great, obviously. 82.1% completion percentage. But honestly, he made all the throws he needed to make. And also, avoided a sack. Did a couple nice things in there aside from making the easy throws. Didn't miss any throws. Didn't put the ball in harm's way. Played a really polished game, Meisty. I'm very impressed, and I'm a little intrigued by what we could potentially see from Geno Smith down the stretch. Now, don't get me wrong, Meisty. I know you're giving me that look. You're like, the Seahawks. The Seahawks stink, Rocky. What are you talking about? Yeah, I know the Seahawks stink. I'm not, coming out here and saying the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl, and nor do I think they're going to win more than 6 games. But point being that Geno Smith has not started a significant amount of time in this league since 2013 with the Jets. Now they give him a chance again. It's an interesting prospect. That's all I'm saying. I think we could see some things from Geno Smith that perhaps we didn't necessarily know that were possible from him. Especially if he's put in a situation like this.
Very confused about what their goal, their game plan, their future is. For me, it's like, okay, you gave Russell Wilson this big contract. You had DK Metcalf. You gave him a bunch of pieces. You didn't give him a good offensive line. He made it work. He made some playoffs and didn't get really far, right? Obviously, we're talking about post the Super Bowl runs, right? Obviously, during the Super Bowl runs, they were winning. They won a Super Bowl. So, after post Super Bowl, they gave him the contract. They gave him good receivers, no line. Defense was still okay. Couldn't win. They move on from him. Geno Smith is not the answer for the Seahawks. I don't care if he goes over 500. That would, first of all, they brought him on to lose games. Let's start with that.
No, they didn't. No, then they would have started Drew Lock.
No, you're right, because they would have gone with Drew Lock.
They would have gone with Drew Lock, yeah. So they didn't quite bring him in to lose games.
But no, they don't come to lose games. They come though to get the highest pick possible. They don't look to make the playoffs this year. Everyone knew that was kind of their game plan. Otherwise, they would have gone. But if I was them, I would have traded for a good quarterback. I would have started rebuilding your defense, build your offensive line, go out there and win a Super Bowl. And it's not easy anytime to win a Super Bowl, but go out there and try to win a Super Bowl. You have one of the best fan bases in all of football. I am not happy with what Seattle is doing with their team. I wonder if they have a plan. Listen, if they have a game plan and they're like, oh, we're going to draft this guy and we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're bringing in this guy and that guy. Okay, fine. If they have some type of game plan or somewhat of a setup, ready to go, fine. But it doesn't seem that way. It seems like Seattle has just turned into I don't know. We have a bunch of good players. Who wants to trade us for them? And then they're just not now. And they also have Pete Carroll, who should have been gone ever since making the worst Super Bowl decision I've ever seen was made by Pete Carroll. I can go on forever talking about Seattle, but I mean, they need a lot of help. Rocky, what are you thinking?
Listen, I think you're overacting. At the end of the day, this was their Super Bowl. this was absolutely their Super Bowl against the Broncos. Like, you talk to any Seahawks fan, they would tell you that as long as we win this game, I don't care if we lose the next 16 games, it make no difference. At the end of the day, this is all we need to do, you know? So I don't think this is necessarily indicative of them not rebuilding or anything like that. But yeah, so let's move on to the next topic. Dak Prescott and T.J. Watt, big injuries that were suffered in week 1. And starting with Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones trying to get a little optimistic, saying that maybe he'll return sooner than we anticipate. But again, we discussed this, that if Dak is out for 6 to 8 weeks, there is no chance that the Cowboys win that division. And I mentioned this despite that the next 6 games, the next 7 games, Cowboys have some winnable games in there. They really do. But at the end of the day, if you don't have your starting quarterback in there, a team that already we knew their struggles, we knew losing Amari Cooper, their best receiver, and now Michael Gallup with all his injury concerns. We knew coming into the season that this team was going to struggle to get there to win this division, especially with the Eagles looking the way they did and making some real moves, headliners in the offseason. So Dak Prescott better return sooner, or else the Cowboys aren't going to have a chance. When I say better, I don't mean they should rush him back. That's not what I mean. But I'm saying if they don't, the reality is that the Cowboys are just not going to be good. Meisty, I don't see the Cowboys doing anything this year without Dak Prescott. And that's the end of the day. If they don't have him for the next 6 to 7 weeks, they're not making the playoffs, even in the NFC.
And I quote, the Cowboys won't do anything with Dak Prescott either way.
That's correct.
Pretty. Either way, Morty's like, I said that? Yeah, I think you did say that. Anyway, makes sense. No, but and we do worry that Dak Prescott, that the Cowboys won't do anything. But regardless, you win as many of these games as you can with your backup. They're not signing anyone. It doesn't seem like they are. That's the new update. They're not trading for anyone. They're not panicking. They're gonna bring back their guy. Which is very silly of them, Rocky. I see you're making your faces, and I agree with you. Yeah, it's all talk, but we'll see what they do. We really don't know what they're going to do. And but I think they're idiots for not trying to bring in even a free agent like Ryan Fitzpatrick or someone. But
yeah,
you know what's going to happen? They're going to lose again, go 0-3, and then they'll sign someone. And it's like, well, now you're a little late, but it's fine. Go ahead, Jerry Jones.
Now, as you say, the Dallas Cowboys need to sell seats, right? They're America's team. They need to do whatever they could to sell seats. So if that means bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick back out of retirement, then that's what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Get some Fitzmagic in there, win a couple games. They won't make the playoffs, but they'll look good for a couple games because they're going to play against the Bears and, who knows who. And then they'll look good against those, the Commanders and the Giants and look good against those teams. But I think the more impactful injury to me, not because the Cowboys, obviously, there's no question that if they lose Dak Prescott, then they're not going to, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. But T.J. Watt might be out for the year. Those were the initial reports. But now we're seeing that it might be 6 weeks. Adam Schefter reported earlier today. T.J. Watt with the torn pec. Did you see the clip of T.J. Watt going to the sideline? I tore my pec. You saw the clip. I actually didn't see it. I just heard about it. But it's pretty funny. I need to watch it. I wish we had that clip available, but I don't think we do. Sorry, I know you didn't get prepared for this one, Morty. But point being that I do think that T.J. Watt going out for the year, even though he's not a quarterback, he's the quarterback of that defense. He is. I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick pulled through in a big way for the Steelers, getting the pick 6 and blocking the extra point, 14 tackles leading the team. His coverage grade was absolutely unbelievable all over the field, shut down his side of the field. But Minkah Fitzpatrick has been like that his entire career. He's very inconsistent. You can't rely on getting that play from him throughout the entire season. The one guy in the Steelers defense, they have a pretty good defense, but the one guy in the Steelers defense that you were able to rely on, this guy's a star-studded player, top 5 at his position, every single week in and week out for the most part. He's going to be getting to the quarterback at a constant basis. If you look at his pressure numbers, last year, 67 pressures. The year before, 75 pressures. In 2019, he had 81 pressures, Meisty. I mean, this is unbelievable to have over 80 pressures, 15 or more sacks in the last, 23 sacks to be exact, last year. I mean, this guy bats down balls to the line. This guy is in football. That's really what it comes down to. And if they lose him, the quarterback of their defense, Meisty, the Steelers are going to be even worse than we thought they're going to be. Like, I got to admit, I thought before the season, I'm like, the Steelers are going to compete in a lot of games. I said week 1, I'm like, Steelers are going to make this game a lot closer. I didn't think they would beat the Bengals. But I said, they're going to make this game a lot closer than people think. And I think they're going to play in a lot of close games this year. Even maybe without T.J. Watt. But without T.J. Watt, I don't know, Meisty, I don't see the Steelers able to compete without T.J. Watt. He is the most important part of that team, as far as I'm concerned. Being that they don't have a quarterback.
I completely agree. I mean, they're going to definitely struggle from here out without him. And even when he gets back, how healthy will he really be? He'll be held out of practice for a lot. Right? There's other issues that they have to deal with. I mean, the bottom line is you still have the Bengals in the division, who even though they just beat Lucky, right? The Bengals had every chance in the world. And then you have the Ravens. So and then you have the whole AFC West. So their playoff chances are very slim regardless. But either way, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. T.J. Watt makes the biggest difference. He's a defensive player of the year. He was going to probably win defensive player of the year again. He could probably come back in 6 to 8 weeks and still win defensive player of the year. He's that good. And it showed you how good he is, like you said, when he came out with the video. And when a guy is like, oh, I know exactly what the injury was. And he's like, he knows exactly what part. He knows himself so well. You saw with his brother, these guys are dominant. They just dominate anyone in their way. Doesn't matter what's going on. They're ready to go. So I think that the Steelers to just win is like same thing like the Cowboys. I mean, they just got to win as many games as you can. Scrape it through it. You have one of the best coaches in history, literally one of the best coaches in history. You have the best quarterback of all time in Mitch Trubisky. And then your defense seemed to be okay against the Bengals. So
Mitch.
I think they'll be fine.
Good old Mitch. By the way, T.J. Watt is also very humble. Did you see the video of them asking him if he's better than J.J., than his brother J.J.? That was a very cute video. He pretty much said, you can't compare me to J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's the next level. He pretty much said people don't even know how dominant this guy was at his time, how he was by far the best at his position, which he's not lying. T.J.'s a very dominant player in his own right, but that was a very humble and modest remark. And they are very close to each other, so I'm not so shocked by that one as well. I feel like the Steelers generally have players with good character on the team. I don't know why, but there's a reason Tomlin's been around for so long, right? Anyway, I want to point out something incredible. Now, as I was looking through the spreads this week, Meisty, we had a segment just a few days ago on the week one when we wrapped up everything in week one overreactions. But you know who doesn't overreact, Meisty? Take a guess.
Vegas.
That's right. Vegas doesn't overreact. Now, let me just go through a few reasons why Vegas doesn't overreact. Now, to week one at least, doesn't overreact. They're not meaning I mentioned last week, sports is what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? That's all that matters. Vegas doesn't look at it like that. Vegas does not look at it like that. Meisty and I were discussing prior to the podcast. It's all about numbers. You crunch the numbers, statistics, data, and that's why they're so successful. They stick to the data, and for point spreads, it ends up working in their favor often. So let me just take a look at a few of these spreads, and this will bring the point home why they're not overreacting. Now the Rams got shellacked to the Bills last week. Granted, the Bills, but they got shellacked to the Bills last week. The Falcons nearly pulled off an upset against the Saints. Nonetheless, the Rams are 10.5-point favorites over the Falcons. Okay? Great. Love it. Now, the Niners lost to the Bears. Almost got doubled up by the Bears. Granted, a monsoon, again, could be exceptions. They're playing against the Seahawks, who just beat the Broncos. Supposed to be one of the best teams in the AFC. The Niners are nearly a double-digit favorite. 9.5-point favorite. Love it, Vegas. Don't have the short-term view. Now, okay, that one maybe not as much. We'll skip that one. Even the Broncos, who lost, still 10-point favorite over the Texans. The Texans nearly beat the Colts last week. Actually impressed, by the way. Out of all the young teams, the young up-and-coming teams, the Texans, a lot of their draft picks looks like play pretty well in week one. Still, the Broncos are double-digit favorites against the Texans. Okay, I love this one. And the Packers. The Bears, meanwhile, like I said, doubled up the Niners. The Packers look like trash against the Vikings, and they're double-digit favorites against the Bears. I mean, these are great. There's a few more of these that we can look through. But point being, I love that attitude. I've always been a big fan of, you can't just look at things in 1 week. Like, people always, it's recency bias. And I think recency bias is very prevalent in the world of sports media in general. People just look at, what'd you do last week? That's all I care about. What'd you do last week? Well, the reality is there's 17 games, and Vegas doesn't care about that. Vegas knows that these are good teams, even if they didn't show up last week. It's week one, preseason, yada, yada, yada. Whatever you want to attribute it to, Meisty, I like the short-term look that Vegas has on things. That's my take on it.
So part of it comes down to the fact that if Vegas made the Packers only, 4-point favorites or 3-point favorites, right? And overreacted, the whole world would be going to bet on the Packers, and right. Vegas can't afford to be losing that such money, right? And as we proved with Monday Night Football, that whenever there's so much money placed on one side of the ball, everyone knows bet on the other. I texted one of my friends that same picture that I sent you guys, talking about that, and I said, "Oh, the Broncos are going to win tonight." And he went and placed money on it. He texted me back after the game. He's like, "Thank you." But and I was like, I didn't even know what he was saying. Like, "Thank you," he didn't type. Like, he just wrote "thank you." And I was like, oh, "Okay, cool."
I also cashed in on that. So thank you.
There you go. There you go. See, always bet against America. Ride with Vegas. Never go anywhere else.
Vegas knows.
But that's the bottom line. It's not even Vegas. It's not Vegas. There is no one. That's how I see it. There is no one. So, but I understand what you're saying. Like, the computers don't overreact. As Elon Musk says, computers are smarter than humans, and so we'll go with that.
Well, I would, okay, that's a different discussion for a different time. I won't give my opinion on that matter. Point being that, obviously the numbers in certain situations, the numbers can be more accurate, and obviously it works out when you have all these people. I mentioned it on Monday night. I said that, well, listen, there's if 89% of the money line bets were going toward Denver. If the Seahawks win tonight, they're going to be having a party in Vegas. So, I want to live look into Vegas Monday night, see how that party went down. Okay, I think we can segue into our next betting segment with a perfect segue, right? Talking about betting, talking about spreads. So we can now segue into our next, Meisty. You have the floor for Meistys Moneyline.
Once again, it's an honor to bring you guys this awesome segment. And so today we're only going to go with 2 teams. Last week we went with 3. We're going to cut it down to 2, and then we're each going to get we'll get one from Morty and one from Rocky. I think that this week it's very, very plain and simple to ride with Buffalo to blow the house down. Once again, why not? Buffalo, Tennessee, 10-point favorites. Let's ride. Buffalo all the way. Josh Allen just likes to tear people up. I think Derrick Henry still not going to have the productive game, possibly not. So why not? Josh Allen just and against Tennessee, they love nothing more to blow Tennessee to shreds. Tennessee coming off a tough, rough game against the hard-hitting New York Giants. So I think Buffalo is that one. The other one, which I mightily love, is a perfect money line of the Philadelphia Eagles. Give it to me. I think the Vikings, I don't know what's coming. They're about to walk into Philly and lose. Hear me now. Hear it here. The Vikings are good, but they're not going to beat the Eagles. They cannot stop Jalen Hurts. He's going to run all over them. He might run for over 100 yards. And Devontae Smith is going to be mightily involved. He was 0 involved last game. He's going to be involved. They're going to be so focused on A.J. Brown and making sure that Jalen Hurts doesn't do what he does. And Devontae Smith is going to be wide open. Play Devontae Smith. Fly, Eagles, fly. Morty, who do you got for us?
Go Birds, first of all. I love that pick. So I don't know. I was looking at a few of the games here. A few, I guess 1 or 2 of them would jump out at me. I was really looking for value plays more than just a straight up win. I think Rams, straight up safe pick, right? They lost opening night. They're gonna bounce back. But for a little more value, I think I'm landing more towards. I just lost them. I like.
Don't take mine. Don't take mine.
I have a feeling. I know what Rocky's gonna take, but I'd probably go Bengals here to beat up on the Cowboys.
You just took it. You just took mine. But okay, fine. You know what? That was what I had prepared. I was going off on a rant about that one. But you know what, Morty? It's fine. I want to go a little more in depth about that one for a second and why that's a good pick. I love the pick. By the way, Bills Titans, Meisty. Rematch of last year, Monday Night Football. Josh Allen slipped on the 4th and short. Remember that game? That was nuts. Crazy finish over there on Monday Night Football towards the end of the season. So that's going to be a compelling one as well. And again, Monday Night Football. They put him on Monday Night Football 2 straight years. Love it, love it, love it.
Wait, Rocky, real quick, if you want another quick, if we're going to stick to the topic of betting, if we have the quick moment, if everyone's just going to take a quick look, everyone's jumping that the injuries to Tom Brady's offense is really affecting them. I'm just seeing this now. I don't know why it wasn't on my screen earlier, but that 2.5, what is it, 2.5 against the Saints? The Saints barely won last week. The Bucs destroyed a Cowboys defense that was supposed to be so good.
That was my backup. That was my backup one. Yeah, the 2.5 point line. And the Bucs Every single unit on the team virtually is, one of the best units in football. Secondary, front seven, receiving core. The offensive line's battled some injuries over here. Ryan Jensen's injured, but at the end of the day, they still have one of the best teams in football, and one of the best quarterbacks in football. So yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good one. Now, I like the Bengals as my lock of the week. Lock of the absolute locks as absolute lock of the absolute week. I like that one. I like that a lot. But in the words of Meisty, the reason I say that is because, yes, we are missing one Dak Prescott in this game. But, I love how Vegas doesn't overreact to the Bengals. Give him 8.5-point favorites. Who cares what happened last week? Yes, there was one play where Joe Burrow just couldn't make the throw, didn't have the arm strength, and that was a result of one of his interceptions. But his other 3 interceptions were just bad throws. You're not going to see that 2 straight weeks. I don't know if it was a result of the lack of preseason. I don't know if it was a result of the lack of reps. I don't know what it was. But you can't assume Joe Burrow is going to struggle like that. And we knew coming into this game, Meisty, everyone knew that the Steelers were going to give the Bengals trouble. We didn't know they were going to win. Nobody thought they were going to win. But we did see the trouble coming. We saw the Steelers giving them trouble. The Bengals are still one of the top 5 teams or top 7 teams in football. You can't deny it. They still have one of the best receiving cores in football. Joe Burrow still played at an extremely high level last year. One game is not going to prove me otherwise. That offensive line did look like it struggled last week against the Steelers, but they still made some nice moves in the offseason. Now it's starting to creep back toward average in that defense. Give me a break. They're going to beat the Cowboys this week. Give me the lock for the Bengals money line. Absolutely, Morty. Take it home. No doubt.
Rocky, you said a lot of reasons for why the Bengals may have lost. I think that was the fact that someone didn't throw a challenge flag. Period. End of conversation.
And they still should have won. Exactly, Mike. Bring it home.
Thrown in that game, and the game is over. The game is over. That's a game winner right there.
That's it. The game is.
It blows my mind.
But that's the thing, Meisty. 5 turnovers, and you still needed all those end-of-game woes. The Jamar Chase, not the lack of challenge, and the decision to punt it, to lose the game. You know what I'm saying? After all that, which tells me you had a crazy fluke weekend to begin with. They almost beat a Steelers team far superior to a Cowboys team without Dak Prescott. Far superior, right? You're breaking a division game? I got to kill the Cowboys this week. I like it. Let's slay them Cowboys. So that's so who we got? Let's sum it up. We got who are your 2, Meisty?
We had the Bills.
The boys. Got the Bills.
The Bills just gonna roll the Titans. Yes.
Money line or spread for the Bills.
We're gonna go with that spread, that big 10.5 spread. Love it. Love Josh. I think Josh Allen might cover every spread this year and still lose a game. There's gonna be one game that somehow they're just not gonna be favorites. No, I think that Josh Allen is just far better. He destroyed the Rams defense. He demolished them. You want to call that week 1? Fine. Saquon Barkley just ran over the Titans defense. I don't see them having any help. They have no hope to stop Stephon Diggs. They were the 31st secondary in football last year, or 30th, right?
Yeah.
And were they not? One of the worst secondaries. So if you're going to sit here and tell me, Josh Allen isn't going to exploit one of the worst secondaries in football, he's going to look to throw. They don't have good running backs. They're not here's J.K. Dobbins, who's really good. No, they have Singletary. No, Josh Allen, it doesn't matter what point of the game it is, he's slinging the football. I love it. And we went with the fly, Eagles, fly.
So Bills spread, fly, Eagles, fly, money line. And then we got the Cowboys, Cowboys money line. And then Morty had
the Bengals money line. The Bengals
money line. And then what was the other one, Morty?
Didn't you say Buck spread?
Yeah, we
Buck
decided.
Let's put it in there. Let's put in Buck spread, 2.5-point spread over the Saints. Like it. We got 4. Let's see if the parlay hits. Did not do very well last week. But hey, you fall down, you get back up. Let's do this one, baby. And we'll persevere nonetheless. Okay, before that, I just want to ask one question before we get to the pick'ems. Will the Bills ever be underdogs in a game this year, Meisty? What do you think about that?
See, outside of injuries, but for the most part, I think preseason odds per the games that were already given, no, they aren't going to be. Even against the Chiefs on the road, it will be very hard for them to be underdogs. Now, I think even on the road, now, if the Chiefs turn out to be really good, right, or there's a team in the AFC that's far superior to everyone else down the road, and the Bills are going to them, is it possible? Yes. I would be very shocked if they are anything more than 2-point underdogs or one point underdogs ever. I mean, it'll be very shocking. I don't think so. I think that the Bills are just going to be constant favorites throughout. I mean, they're just so good.
They are playing the Chiefs in Kansas City, October 16th. I don't know. That's week 5 around, right? Something along those lines. So let's say they both go into that game 5-0, right? The Chiefs are looking good, not skipping a beat with Tyreek Hill, and the Bills are also obviously, one of the best overall rosters in football. I could see them being an underdogs in that game, but if it is, it's going to be a 1-point underdog.
I'll tell you like this. I'll say this. The Bills might be favorites, and I'll be betting on the Chiefs because America will be like jumping on the Bills or something. Or whichever way America's going, I'm going the other way.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But I agree. Other than that Chiefs game, I think that's the only potential underdog we have for the Bills. All right, I think we can go ahead and move on to the pick'ems. Let's do it, baby.
We'll be right back to this episode of the Rocky and Meisty Show. But first, I have a message for all you sports bettors out there. Listen, the NFL season is right around the corner, and what better place to start than BetUS? Using our link and promo code in the description below, you can access a sign-up bonus of up to 125%. That's right, a figure unmatched in the industry, special for our loyal listeners. You can bet on all of your favorite sports, including NFL, MLB, and UFC. You can access live betting odds, parlays, props, and so much more. BetUS truly is the best all-around sports betting experience. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, press the link in the description below, and get started today.
Okay, so let's get rolling with the pick'ems. We're glad to be joined by our special guest, Yehuda Edelstein. And, we had to bribe him to come on because that's the only way we can get some guests on this show. We'll have a cash prize, go head-to-head with the Rocky and Meisty crew, see who can accumulate the most points at the end of the weekend. Picking these games, got 3 spreads. We got the pick'ems. Yehuda, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
All right, let's learn a little bit more about our guest. Yehuda, what's your favorite professional sport?
Okay, so favorite sport to follow or to play?
To watch.
To watch football, but NBA playoffs is also up there. So only NBA playoffs though, but NFL football year round is just always
okay,
number one.
So if you had to go top three
sports.
Top 3 sports, and you can say playoffs as one.
Yeah, I would say for sure NFL regular season and playoffs is going to be in the top 3 either way. NBA playoffs I really like. I mean, other than that, I'm not a big baseball guy or soccer guy, but I guess I'll watch playoff baseball more than any other sport. Like I'm on into playoff hockey, I'm on into soccer or any other.
Okay, so I won't take that personally. But hockey, but we'll brush right past that.
I knew what movie it was.
Which teams do you follow? What are your teams?
I used to be a big Falcons fan, but once I started betting on sports, you just kind of lose affinity to any one team because now it's like whoever's team's gonna make you money is who you want to who you're rooting for. So I always have a soft spot in my heart for the Falcons, but now I kind of just watch whatever I'm betting on or whatever I have fantasy football kind of thing, which has ruined sports for me in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's intense.
You can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a best worst moment in sports, either betting or watching?
So, best moment for sure, last year, DraftKings, I won $10K on a free pool. That was by far the best ever. That was insane. And then, that was just, that's its own thing. That doesn't, I don't have to hype it up. 10K is enough to be hyped about.
You gotta get some dollar signs in there, Morty. Dollar signs.
Yeah. The worst thing, I think, was last Super Bowl, honestly. Since I was, feeling myself kind of this whole year of, sports because of the 10K, I put a lot of money on the Bengals, but I also did a lot of money on a lot of these prop bets. And the only bet that I hit out of the whole Super Bowl was the longest punt would be over for I think 48 yards or 48 and a half. But the craziest thing was that I thought that was the easiest bet ever. I'm obviously they're gonna punt farther than 48 and a half. My brother's just put all your money on that one bet, and I didn't. That was the only one that hit. So every other bet missed.
Okay, I probably would have said I think I was there for one of your really tough moments, the Falcons Super Bowl.
Oh, you're saying for sure, emotion-wise, disregarding money. And that was the toughest moment because everyone in Yeshiva was rooting against me. They wanted the comeback. Right. I didn't.
Okay, so since
a good comeback story, so.
All right, I think let's get into the pick'ems now. Now that we know that Yehuda doesn't care about one team over the other. We'll hop right in.
I'm all over the cash prize.
Okay, let's do it then. Let's start it off with this Thursday night. For the record, we're recording this Wednesday evening, and these are the lines as of now. They are subject to change. But let's start off with tomorrow night, Thursday night's game. The two undefeated teams, Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favorites by 3.5. Yehuda.
Okay.
What are we thinking?
I can go money line or spread. How's it work?
You can pick three spreads.
Okay, so I'm gonna go money line Chiefs now, just because, like, I feel like Chiefs Chargers is always like a shootout game, and it might always come down to the wire, and I'm not gonna risk like pushing on the 3. I guess you know what I'm saying if they're up there 3, you said plus 3.
3.5.
3.5. They're gonna end up probably winning by 3, so I'll just take Chiefs money line.
Yeah, I would agree with the Yehudas. The Yehudas are in agreement. It's going to be close, even without Keenan Allen, but you never want to bet on a divisional game, and especially a Thursday.
Yeah.
Defense is not really going to be played, even though these teams kind of know each other, but points are going to be scored, and it's too close to take any spreads. But Chiefs will win.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be the different one over here. I'm going with my preseason division winners. I'm going with the Chargers. I still think the Chiefs are going to miss Tyreek Hill, even though it didn't look like it last week. I don't know what the Cardinals were doing, blitzing Patrick Mahomes over half of his dropbacks. It didn't make any sense. I mean, they had a formula to beat the Chiefs last year, did a lot of teams in the league, played too high safety. They didn't do that. The Chiefs will be smart. The Chargers will be smarter, especially with an all-pro in J.C. Jackson. I'm liking the Chargers to win this game, Meisty.
Yeah, Rocky, I'm joining with you on this one. I mean, I was trying to think if they can tie, but I think that Mahomes rather lose than tie. So I'm going to go with the Chargers to win this one as well. Morty?
Wow. All right. I'm going to have to... I think the only way I bet on the Chargers here is if they're at home, but they're not. So I'm going to join the Yehudas here on the Chiefs, straight up. And we can move on to our Week 2 Sunday games. Starting with the possibly looking like it's going to be a little underwhelming. The Jets at the Browns. The Browns are favorites by 5.5. Yehuda, what are you thinking?
Okay. I feel like this is such a garbage game that I'm scared to take spread up to take the spread either. I would go. Wait, who's the quarterback for the Browns now? I'm spacing.
Brissett, yeah.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so gross. I feel like Browns might just run it down their throats. I'm gonna go Browns money line here, just betting on Nick Chubb pretty much. I don't like either of the teams, but
Yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were both amazing last week, and it did take them a miracle field goal by Cade York. Maybe he's the new Evan McPherson, rookie kicker who's hitting these insane kicks in his first year. But I actually seeing the Jets live, I saw that game last week, and they're still riding with Joe Flacco. This is a very bad team, and like their run defense is okay, but they're not gonna be able to stop Chubb and and Hunt, that tandem. But so I'll actually take the Browns to cover that spread because they're at home, they're gonna win. Their home opener, they should win by a lot.
Yeah, you said it, Yehuda. Joe Flacco back under center. I think that about says the whole game in a nutshell. Therefore, I'm gonna. Browns have a much better roster, good defense, underrated over there, and I'm gonna go with the Browns money line as well.
All right.
I don't know about you guys, but Joe Flacco doesn't lose in week 2. Oh, you lost me? You have me back? Joe Flacco doesn't lose in week 2, guys. Let's just start with that. Jets rush defense is fantastic. Right? They held the Ravens to only 68 yards or whatever it was. I'm going to go with the Jets here. Jets, Jets.
All right.
All right. All right. Just don't let your mother go to that game. But we were one pick away from browning out because I'm going to take the Browns also. I would maybe take the Jets on the spread. I was thinking taking the Jets to keep it close, but I can't trust the Jets for that. So I'm going to take the Browns straight up. And we can move to the next game. The Washington Commanders at the Hard Knocks Detroit Lions. Yehuda.
What's the spread over here?
The spread. Oh yeah, sorry. The spread. The Lions are favored by 1.5. 1.5 spread.
I'll take Washington spread because I think they're gonna win. Obviously, I'll take the spread. I'm not gonna go against my hometown team, even though they've changed their name on me like 3 times. I still have faith in the organization in a way, and I also have faith in Terry McLaurin and Gibson and
Carson Wentz. Do you have faith in Carson Wentz?
I think Carson Wentz actually is a winner. I think he gets a lot of hate, and I think he puts all his heart in the game. So obviously he's gonna have games where he flops and he's gonna mess up. But you can see on his face, he's putting everything he has into a game. And I'm saying he did well with Jonathan Taylor sometimes. I'm saying I could see him well with the Washington. So I'm taking Washington spread.
He didn't do so well last year against the Jaguars in the last game. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of people remember. He did not make the playoffs. But he played really well last week with 4 touchdowns. And the Lions are a good, fun, scrappy team. It's very, it's crazy to see that they're favored, but I love Dan Campbell, but they figure out ways to lose games. 66-yard field goals. They're always in it, but somehow they figure out a way to lose.
Is it home? Are they home or they're away?
They're in Detroit, and they played the Eagles last week.
Classic. Losing in Detroit is just a thing they do.
Exactly. It's expected. So they almost came back against the Eagles. Morty was shaking in his boots, but then they find a way to lose, and they eventually end up losing by 3 points. So I'm going to take the Commanders to win this game.
Yeah, you said it, Yehuda. Really, it's a lot of moral victories for the Lions, as Meisty and I discussed. That's really what it comes down to with Dan Campbell. He cries, he's emotional, and it's great. He's into it. But at the end of the day, there's no more moral victories. The Lions are now big boys, and they tend to just mess these games up at the end. That's what happens. They're going to be very close, a lot of 3-5 point games, but I think the Commanders will pull it out as well.
Carson Wentz was a playoff, a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, if you must. Sort of.
On a technicality, yes.
On a technicality, he's a Super
Got a
Bowl.
ring.
He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So you can't let that down. I'm going to take the Redskins to. I'm going to actually go Jordan Yehuda Edelstein here and take that spread as well. I mean, it's a nice little spread to hop on, and I think that I'm not a fan of any Hard Knocks team ever. So I'm going to take the Redskins here.
All right. So we're gonna blow past Rocky, basically calling Dan Campbell a crybaby. And I think I'm gonna take the Lions at home.
Put it in a nice way. He's just highly emotional.
Yeah.
If you want me to.
Highly emotional.
I'm gonna take the Lions at home. I saw what their line was able to do against the Eagles line, and I think the Commanders aren't nearly as good at that end. I think defensively, the Lions, at least on their D-line, are going to be able to get to Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz under pressure, we all know what happens. So I'll take the Lions here. Give me the Lions spread as
Watch
well.
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks brainwash.
He's buying the hype.
Okay, next game.
This Hard Knocks this past one.
I watched.
Lions?
Yeah.
What?
Sick.
Okay, next game. Last week we had Bill Belichick against his rival, the Dolphins. This week we have the Buccaneers against their rival, the Saints, who infamously held them to 3 points last season.
0
points. Shutout
Got him out.
last season. So we now have the Bucs back in New Orleans. The Bucs are favored by 2.5. Yehuda, you riding with Tom Brady on this one?
Yeah, I never like to bet against Tom Brady ever, and I think the Saints game last year, again, I think it's a fluke. I also think that without Drew Brees, I'm just not scared of the Saints. I'm not scared of Alvin Kamara if Drew Brees isn't tossing him the ball. I don't know what it is. It's just about, I guess, growing up watching Drew Brees always be on the same team and being such a franchise quarterback. Without him, they feel like just so weak. So I'll take Bucs spread, and I feel very confident about that.
Are you actually confident that you're just saying that?
I'm confident since I never would bet against Tom Brady, and it's a division game. Julio Jones, you have two guys who run the NFC South, whatever it is, that are in the same team now. Julio Jones is like past 10 years.
We know their history, and like I said before the podcast, I was going to say Chazaka. We have a history. They have 4 regular season games. They can't beat them in the postseason, but the Saints just own Tom Brady in the regular season, and obviously no Drew Brees. But I think we saw last year with Jameis, or no, it wasn't even Jameis. It was Teddy Bridgewater or something. I don't remember who it was. Taysom, maybe. Yeah, I think it was Taysom.
Who's the Saints starting quarterback right now?
Yeah, Jameis, but he was hurt.
Revenge game.
Yeah, revenge game against the Bucs. And they're playing in New Orleans somehow, some way. I want to pick Brady. I don't want to bet against him, but somehow the Saints are going to win this game. So I got to go Saints.
Wow. No, I completely agree. I mean, not with Yehuda, but with the first Yehuda, because I do think you never get bet against Tom Brady. Now, I agree with you to a certain extent too, Yehuda. Yehuda Abaddon, because I do think that, it's like an Achilles heel. And Achilles heels cannot be explained. There's no logic. There's nothing behind it. It's just an Achilles heel. But that's not reason enough for me to pick the Saints in this game. I just can't go with that trend. So, again, our lock of the week, one of our locks of the week, Bucks spread. I'm taking it.
Wow.
So after all this talk about who's the leader of the NFC South, Michael Thomas is back, ladies and gentlemen. And for that, I'm riding with the Bucks.
What?
Wait, what?
Spread?
No, not going to ride the spread here because I already took a spread earlier. But I wish I should ride with the spread, but I won't. But there's never betting against Tom Brady. It's never gone well for anybody unless you're an Eagles fan. Morty, with that, Eagles. I mean, not the Eagles, but let's see what you got.
It's hard not to have respect for a man like Tom Brady, even though he did lose to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Need I remind you?
He beat them in 03, didn't he? Or 05?
Most recent Eagles Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, this was in our podcast parlay, so I'm gonna go with the Bucks here. Bucks spread -2.5. I think lightning doesn't strike twice with this matchup, so.
But it strikes 4 times. It strikes 4 times though.
Yeah, but
not. It'd be 4 times.
Maybe if it resets again, then we'll. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, our next game. A dejected Baker Mayfield is about to be a lot more sad because he's got to go to the Meadowlands and play the Giants. Now this might be a good opportunity for him to beat up on the Giants after losing to his former team. But the Giants are favored by 2 points. Yehuda Edelstein, what do you make of this?
What do I make of it? Baker's he's on Carolina right now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I always liked Baker. I thought that he had a lot of pressure when he was on the Browns, and he's one of those guys who probably tries to live up to it and can't. But I don't think he's as bad as people say. So I'm gonna take Carolina. I guess I'll take Carolina money line. I think they're gonna win straight out. I'm also a little biased. I always think the Giants are trash. I think most of the NFC East is just trash. Growing up watching them, they just, no offense to the Eagles, but I just can't. I can't look at them. Like Cowboys, I'm always seeing them never making it. I've never seen them in the Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever seen anyone in the NFC besides for I guess that's actually not true at all because the Giants won twice. The Eagles won twice too. I don't know. It's just a bias, I guess, being from the Maryland, but I can't see the Giants winning ever. So I'll take Carolina and Baker and Christian McCaffrey. I don't know why we're pretending he's not one of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah, the Giants team really screwed over my lock of the week last week when they somehow beat the Titans. I don't know what Fat Randy is doing, missing kicks for the Titans. And doesn't he know that I picked the Titans? No, but it's so crazy to me to see that the Giants are favored. Daboll's obviously got the Giants playing for them. You could see in the locker room how much fun they're having, and it looks like they're really coming together. And obviously he's a much better coach than Joe Judge, but there's no way the Giants are going on a winning streak. They're not winning 2 games in a row. So I got to take the Panthers, and I'm going to take this spread because seeing the Giants favored, that's great. I guess it's just because they're at home. But Panthers are going to win. Christian McCaffrey, like you said, he's going to be able to run on this team, and hopefully Baker finds DJ Moore, gets it going, and they're going to win. Panthers win.
Well, he found Robbie Anderson on a deep one towards the end of the game. That was a nice throw, yeah. No, I agree. I think Dable has his team playing hard, and that was great. I love that 2-point conversion, going for it at the end of the game. Listen, you're a team that doesn't have much expectations. I think you put it all on the line. Now it was a minute left. There's been maybe a little too much time to go for the 2-point conversion, but it panned out, and it was pretty cool in the process. But I'm still going to go with the Panthers. I mean, I'm not going to go with the money line just because they sort of messed us all over last week. But so I'm not going to rely on that. But yeah, I can't see the Giants winning 2 straight. A winning streak for the Giants. Don't see it happening. I'm going to go with the Panthers. Just the money line as well over here.
Wow, you guys really have no faith. I will ride and die with Saquon Barkley until his fantasy football logo says next to it, out for season. So give me the Giants. Give me the -2. Give me the -2.
You're going to the Giants -2?
Yeah, give me the Giants -2. Who do the Panthers think they are? Baker's a bust. He only had trying to win 1 game last week, and that was it. That was the only game he cared about winning, and he don't care to win. He's a loser. Baker can go. Get out of here. I rode with Baker. I'm off the Baker train. I rode with Baker for 3 years now. Even though he was my rival, I rode with him. Send this off to Morty.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with the Carolina spread here. I think it's nice. I think we should get a prop bet for the first running back to be out for the season. It's like
Yeah, right. There's a
McCaffrey,
lot of good
Saquon,
ones.
Derrick
Guys
Henry,
are top two, yeah.
any Eagles player ever.
Alvin Kamara has been injured before. I mean, I feel like every good running back is ready to get injured and ruin their career.
Yeah, they put it all on the line. So I guess we'll
Yeah.
see. Okay, let's move on to the next matchup. The Brady-less Patriots are moving from sunny Florida to gritty Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Patriots favored by a single point over the Steelers. Yehuda, Steelers.
Who's the quarterback for the Steelers? I feel like I just lose all my information. All my football information goes gone during the offseason. I get it back slowly throughout the first.
Mitch Trubisky is the quarterback for the Steelers, and he has never thrown a pick six in his entire career.
That's begging to happen. That's just. I mean, I like Mitch Trubisky. Also happens to be. I hated who's the guy who got hit in the head by the Browns player?
Mason Rudolph.
I like Mitch Trubisky. I liked him on the Bears. I don't think he's that good, but I do like him. Like I like the way he also kind of seems to have a lot of heart. He's similar to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen's infinitely better. I'm gonna take. I also don't like to bet against Belichick, so I'm gonna take Belichick. I feel like this is a cold. It's not cold yet, but this feels like a cold snow game, and I just think the Patriots are always like dominating other AFC teams in this kind of situation. So I'll take Belichick, and you said they're favored by. I'll take money line. They don't get the spread. I'm saying.
Who are you less likely to bet against, Brady or Belichick?
So I think Brady's better than Belichick, but Belichick still gives me a fear in my heart. Like it still gives me a little bit of nerves. I can't bet against him.
Yeah, and I happen to agree with you here because even though the Steelers, I think, are a better team, better roster than the Patriots, because I don't know what their coaching is, they still have Belichick. And even though they're playing in Pittsburgh, Belichick just owns Mike Tomlin. I don't know if Mike Tomlin has ever beat Belichick. Maybe. We need to look that up, but I think, including playoffs, I don't think he's ever beaten Belichick. And even with a worse team, no Brady, obviously, and Mac Jones with back spasms in Pittsburgh, you're still going to find a way to win because I think Belichick's just going to outcoach him.
100%.
Yeah, I think actually Yehuda Edelstein, it's a better comp than you think. Mitch Trubisky and Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen, first 2 years of his career, very similar to Mitch Trubisky. That got the big upside, the big arm, big playability, but very inconsistent, very inaccurate. That's pretty much what Mitch Trubisky's been. Just Josh Allen now has become exponentially better because he's developed his game, his accuracy, and all those things. His consistency.
Also a way better team. He's got a way better team around him.
He's got a way better team, no question too. But his game is just developed and sprouted into a much better all-around game. And Mitch Trubisky just never developed into that player. He just has the one or two upside throws every game, but then other than that, just wildly inaccurate. So. That being said, I think T.J. Watt missing from the Steelers is going to be huge for them. Like, I would have picked the Steelers if T.J. Watt was in there, straight up. But that's how big of an impact I think the lack of T.J. Watt is going to have on the Steelers team. So therefore, like you said, don't go against Belichick. Although I went against him last week, panned out. I'm not going to go against Belichick this week. I'm going to go with the Pats.
Wow, interesting, Rocky. I'm actually riding with the Steelers here. Give me the Steelers money line. I'm riding the Mitch Trubisky train this week. For some bizarre reason, I don't know what convinced me.
What can I do?
But also, I really don't believe in this Patriots offense. I mean, it showed last year when he was literally told Mac Jones, "You're not allowed to throw the ball this game," and Bill Belichick doesn't trust you. I don't trust you.
Yep.
What changed this year? Nothing. He's a rookie. There was no one else to draft. They couldn't trade for somebody. Bill Belichick's just going out there. He's like, dude, I could be your great grandfathers. Like. He's literally watching his grandchildren play football. This is what it is. He literally he's Zadie out there. So, to me, Bill Belichick doesn't care to win football games at this point. He's just, I don't even know what he's doing out there. Give me the Steelers money line.
All right. I mean, I think this is kind of like a Vegas trap game. Making the Steelers slight underdogs and be like, oh, like the Patriots just lost. Bet the Steelers. Yeah. Well, to answer, I think what Yehuda said, Mike Tomlin did beat Bill Belichick. In 2018, 17-0.
Yeah. 17-10. 17-10. That's
17-10. Okay, yeah. 17-10, my bad.
Good memory.
Never beat them in the playoffs.
Good memory.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Patriots straight up here. I think they're just better. Just better. All right, and we'll move on to a rematch of last season closer for the Indianapolis Colts here. Their paper bag wearing nightmare. The Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. In Jacksonville, they've got a new coach now, Matt Ryan, who Yehuda, you're probably very familiar with Matt Ryan.
Matty Ice, baby, the least clutch person maybe of all time. I don't know why I got that
He's
nickname.
one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. As far
But
as
that nickname is supposed to be that he's really he's cold, like he's ice, but he's extremely unclutch. I don't know what they're saying.
yeah. So the Colts are favored by 4. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, again, I used to have this thing where I used to never want to bet against the Falcons, the Dirty Birds, because they're just so dirty. They always will mess you over. If you bet with them, they lose. And you bet against them, they crush somehow. Doesn't matter what the thing is. So
That's the Falcons.
it's fair that Matt Ryan has that little bit of spell in him that you don't want to bet against Matt Ryan either, just because he'll screw you over either way. But I mean, the Jaguars are such a gross team, and they're never going to be good in my mind. Like, I'm never going to think they're good, and I love Jonathan Taylor, so I'll just take the Colts spread. I think the Colts are going to blow them out, to be honest. I think Matt Ryan might throw like 2 picks, even a pick 6. Be a messy game for sure, but I just see the Colts blowing them out. And
Just to know, Yehuda, that's your last spread. There's 3 spreads. That's your last one. You could switch it out later if you want. I mean,
I'll take money line then, because there's no point in taking the spread if I don't have to. Like, right?
you're right. You only 3 spreads. I guess have to take technically. I mean, you might as well take it. I'll explain because you get 2 points if you get the spread correct. You get 1 point if you get the money line correct. So you might as well take 3 spreads, but you only have 3. So
I'll take the spread because I think for sure.
Okay, go ahead.
He's getting excited early. He's picking all the spreads early when we're talking. When I'm taking them all. Yeah, I think I'll take the Colts. I mean, it's basically a loss for them last week. They're lucky that it was only a tie, not a loss. But it's basically a loss for them to tie to the Texans. So they should be able to beat up on a team that, I mean, I think the Jaguars are probably better than the Texans, and they should have beat the Texans, but they should beat the Jaguars, even though they're playing it away.
The Texans sort of overperformed last week. I mean, a lot of their rookies came in and played really well last week. So, I don't see the Jaguars overperforming. The Jaguars, people tend to forget that the Jaguars have one of the worst rosters in football just because, we assume Trevor Lawrence is going to be all that this year, but they're not good. So give me the Colts as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there might not be a game this season where Jacksonville's not heavily involved. They're going to lose it all. They might go 1-16 this year, but they'll be losing games every single game within a touchdown or heartbreaking losses one after the next. But once again, give me the Colts. I don't know how they're going to win. It's typical of them not to win, but give me the Colts.
All right, yeah. I think I got to take the Colts here also, with Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. I'm curious what the highest scoring fantasy loser ever has been. No?
Meaning what?
Meaning the guy who scored the most fantasy points but still lost the game.
Oh, like a player scoring the most amount.
Yeah, because Michael Pittman Jr. and Jonathan Taylor both had 27 points last week, and they tied, which is a loss.
There's for sure like Kansas City shootout games where Stephon Diggs has 2 touchdowns and 250 yards, 40 points, and they still lost in overtime.
It probably would have been the Chiefs-Bills game, but that was playoffs and doesn't count for fantasy.
You go back to the Vikings when they had Adrian Peterson, his MVP year. There must have been games on games. They missed the playoffs, right? So
that crazy Thursday night or Rams. It was I feel like it was Rams Chiefs. That was a crazy game. Yeah, he threw a pick at the end of the game. It was a crazy game. Probably Travis Kelce had 35 points or something, and they lost.
All right.
Really good games.
Let's pick up our next game here. We have the Miami Dolphins heading into hostile purple country, to play the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens favored by 3.5 after beating up on the lowly Jets last week. You're gonna ride with the state here, or
I am mostly because I love Lamar Jackson, and I do think the Ravens are good. I think, again, I know I can't say this within a lot of Baltimore people in the vicinity. I don't think they're that good. I just think they're good. And I think the Dolphins are not. I don't think the Dolphins are good at all. I also hate the fact that Mike Gesicki got 0 points in fantasy, and it seems that their coach said apparently their coach says I'm not going to even pass him. They don't even put him in the plays anymore. So I was he's worthless now. So I'm kind of a little mad about that. So I'm definitely going Ravens money line, and I hope the Dolphins have an awful season, to be honest.
You just got personal beef with Mike McDaniel.
It's
It's
insane.
started with Ricky. I feel
Like,
you,
he
man.
was a great tight end. Like he was a great, solid
Yeah.
tight end. He's a good player, and he also like played well at whatever. I can't believe that you have it in your game plan to give the guy less like action, not even passes, just less like plays or running routes. It's crazy.
He's basically a wide receiver, but I think they want him to play a little different than what he was doing in the last regime. But I'm gonna go Ravens. Obviously, there is a little bias. I'm nervous about Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Chase Edmonds. I love Mike McDaniel and his philosophy coming over from the Niners. But it's the Ravens' home opener. They should win. They did not look that good against the Jets last week, but I think they're going to play up to their competition. And this game is going to be tougher than you think. Dolphins are definitely improved, and they're frustrated from last year that they lost on that Thursday night football game where they just got blitzed over and over. So I think they better have an answer to that, or else the Dolphins will just do it again. But they should have an answer and win this game, but it'll be close.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily lower than expected. I think when you put these two teams in a scope, it looks like it should be a pretty good matchup. But yeah, I'm going to go with the hometown Ravens. I agree with you. I think that the Dolphins are. I think you get Tyreek Hill, it's a game changer. And even last week, Tua did not play well last week, and yet the Dolphins still handled a decent Patriots team. I mean, at least an average Patriots team. So the Dolphins are going to win some games this year. But really, Lamar Jackson was very slow out of the gate, and then in the second half. Throwing some, 3 big time throws in the second half. Had that 2 nice throws to Devin Duvernay, the deep ball to Rashad Bateman. I like the direction he went in the second half, and I'm looking for him to run the ball a little more this week. Ravens play callers, so I'm liking the Ravens win this game as well.
Hopefully Dobbins is back.
Yeah, that is well.
The Ravens throw the ball a lot. Everyone goes, "Oh, they have to run the ball." And here you are, Rocky. You just said it. Oh, I'm looking forward to the Ravens running the ball more.
Balance is key. Balance is key.
Who are you? Anyway, I'm just kidding. No, I also expect the Ravens to run the ball more. But, I heard a rumor that
What's the rumor?
Tua's younger brother might be dressing up for him and coming to play. What?
No.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so Tua's younger brother is going to come out and play for him. So that gets me a little worried. But with that being in mind, I'm going to take
Maryland. Where's his younger brother at?
Maryland.
He plays Maryland. He plays Maryland. Quarterback, yeah.
What's his first name? It's like
Tyler.
Yeah, it's
T-I-L-I-A. Tyler or something like that.
Good player.
Tuila, Tuila, though.
So you got the Ravens.
Let me think about that again. I'll get back.
Okay. Now I love the Dolphins squad this year, but I'm not gonna bet against the Ravens in Baltimore. Until they lose, I probably won't bet against the Ravens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You gotta ride with them till they're out.
Yeah, basically. So I'm gonna take the Ravens here also, and we can move to our 4:00 window. Okay.
Let's do it.
We've got the Atlanta Falcons against the 0-1 Los Angeles Rams. Yehuda, do you think if you had to fight 100 Falcons or 100 Rams, which one do you think would be easier?
I think Falcons. I think birds. Like, I'm just not scared of a bird pecking me to death.
It's a falcon, and there's 100 of them.
Yeah.
Where am I? What biome am I in? What biosphere?
A large grass field.
Okay, like a plane.
Yeah, like a plane. There's like There's one tree. We'll give you a tree.
So then, what I would do probably is just let me know. I'd probably climb. Rams climb the tree.
Oh, climb the Rams.
Well, 100 Rams could probably knock the tree over.
Yeah.
Okay, I think. But do they know that? Are they like zombies in World War Z? Do they know I'm there? Or
They're trying to kill you. They're all trying to get you.
And where do they start? Like, where do I start? Where do they start?
You start a football field apart.
Oh wow.
Worse football.
You get a head start.
I probably think Rams. I think I can maybe outrun the Rams. I know a big thing about humans is they have like really, really good stamina compared to other animals because other animals just kind of go insanely fast right away. But they tire out easily. That's why humans are like able to hunt them. I'm gonna go Rams and just run it. I'm just gonna run straight. Hope I can do it.
Okay.
I'm also gonna take Rams.
All right.
The
spread is 10.5. In case.
Oh, good. Well, I don't have any spreads, do I? I'm out of spreads. I'll take money line either way. I mean, we're not betting physical money, or else I would never take the money line. That's crazy. But yeah, I'll take Rams. I mean, I don't know. The Falcons just last week I didn't think they looked good. I mean, Young Ho Koo is unreal, best kicker in the league. So got me like 19 points. But I just don't think the Falcons are good. I don't think they're. Yeah, I don't know. Who's Marcus Mariota? Is their quarterback now?
That's right.
I don't like him in the Falcons jersey.
It's weird.
And Kyle Pitts, I don't know. I'm going Rams all day, even though I think Matthew Stafford's a little overrated. I also won't bet against Cooper Kupp, he's just such a weapon. Like, he's probably, I don't know if they ever played the Falcons last year, but I'm assuming he tore them up. That's what I'm assuming. Like, he's one of those guys.
He's amazing, and he just continued his amazing season from last year. And I think Matthew Stafford's elbow injury is letting on. Like we said, I think Morty mentioned that, an angry Rams team in Los Angeles, and Falcons team that once again blew a big double-digit lead in the fourth quarter when they should have won and they should have beat the Saints. But I wouldn't take the spread. I wouldn't touch the spread. It's a little much, but the Rams are going to win.
You see my camera getting weird over here?
Rocky's having some
You go
technical
ahead. Let me.
difficulties.
I'll be back in 1 second. You go ahead, Meisty.
Okay, yeah, with this, I'd be shocked to see the Rams lose 2 in a row. Due to the real problem in Los Angeles. Other than that, though, the Falcons suck.
Yeah.
So if the Rams don't win by like 15, 16, 17 points here, I'd be pretty shocked at that. I'm just going to take the money line. I'm not going to use my spread. I'm saving my spread for later on tonight. So
Is Todd Gurley still playing for the Falcons, or he's a free agent?
Probably not.
he's
Is
retired.
he in the league anymore? Yeah.
Sure. Rams.
Anthem revenge game. Like Ghost
Well,
revenge. The Ghost
I'm gonna go as well with the Rams. Obviously, I'm going with the Falcons money line. The Falcons keep a lot of games close for no apparent reason whatsoever. I think that the Falcons, when they're like large underdogs, they tend to hit. So 10.5 points. They could lose by 10. The Rams can handily win this game, and they can still cover that 10.5 point line. So yeah, I'm gonna go Rams with the victory, but the Falcons will cover the money line. What'd you say, Meisty?
You keep calling it the money line, the spread. You keep messing up.
No, I'm going with Rams money line, but Falcons spread. Oh, did I say the opposite? Yeah, Rams. Correct. So I'm just gonna the Rams to win, but the Falcons spread.
Okay.
Yeah, the Dirty Birds are terrifying. I hate betting against them. I'm shaking in my boots right now.
Right.
Yeah.
This might be a good trap game to bet the Falcons, actually.
I was thinking about it, but I'm just gonna go spread, so at least I get 1 point.
That's a parlay. It'll give you crazy odds, and if they somehow think you're good.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you parlay it with all the 1 o'clock games, then you just cash out before the game. Might be.
Yeah, or just crazy hedge. Just get a crazy hedge.
Right. Rocky, what's the Rams run defense like?
Run defense is all right. The Rams, the biggest concern for the Rams gives me the offensive line. It looked awful last week. Now they played Von Miller was feasting. The whole front seven.
Okay, I'm just worried about Cordell Patterson starting him this week. But I'm obviously gonna take the Rams here. I'm just curious.
Isn't it Cordero, right?
I always say Cordell.
Me
Is
too.
it not Cordell?
It's Cordero, I think.
Nah, it's Cordell.
No, it's Cordell. Oh, is it Cordell? Now I don't know.
I think you're combining Daryl and Cordell.
I got that.
Are you asking fantasy advice during a pick'em show?
Nope. Anyways, our next game, the Seahawks. The Seahawks, high off their win, are going down to San Fran to play the Niners. The Niners are favored by a whole 9.5 points. I think
Kittle's still out.
Pretty accurate. Is Kittle out? I'm not sure.
Not practice today, so we don't know yet. But I don't know how good it looks. But he could just pop up on Friday with a limited practice and be fine for Sunday.
You can switch your pick if you want after, by Friday or Sunday.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's Cordero, by the way. Cordero.
Just call him Patterson. Everyone's happy.
Anyway, I hate both these teams, to be honest. Like, Seahawks without Russell Wilson, I don't like. I just don't think they're that good. And I definitely don't like the Niners, but I think I'm gonna have to go. How are the Niners defense? Are they good this year? How do they look? So I'm going Niners. I'm going Niners and hoping that isn't Geno Smith the quarterback for the Seahawks?
Yep.
I'm hoping they just beast on the guy and he just can't get anything done. And maybe the Niners run it down. I don't know. I'm hoping that the Niners can pull it off, but I just don't have faith in Geno Smith ever. I don't think anyone does. I don't think Pete Carroll does.
He had enough faith in him to move on from Russell Wilson. I don't know if it was the best move, but it worked out for him on Monday night. But This is very weird that the Seahawks have been beating the Niners, even when the Niners have been good in like 2019. They were able to get some wins. So I don't know if Trey Lance is it. Like obviously they had terrible weather last week in Chicago, and he didn't look that good. But you can credit some of that to the rain and the absolutely atrocious field in Chicago, the Soldier Field. But 9.5 for the Niners seems a little much. So if I were to spread, I would probably take the Seahawks to cover, and the Niners to win in like a close game, just because they're playing at home. But it makes me nervous. I'm gonna take the Niners, but it makes me nervous.
Let's not overreact to the Niners losing to the Bears last week in a complete monsoon over there, because the weather was not only awful. I don't know. There's a reason they're leaving that field over there in Soldier, because there was puddles. I mean, it was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. And I hold that games of that magnitude, meaning when the weather impacts it that severely, you can't bring a proof from it. The Niners are way better than the Seahawks, and the Seahawks won last week. And Geno way exceeded expectations. He played a lot better than I thought. Niners are way better than the Seahawks. I'd be surprised if the Niners lose 2 straight to end the season and the Seahawks win 2 straight. Beat the Broncos and the Niners the first 2 weeks of the season. I can't see that happening. I'm gonna go with the 49ers over here.
Wasn't there a crazy rain game with when Garoppolo was playing? It was Niners Washington. I remember there being like a crazy red game.
That was great.
Like what was the score? Like 6-3 or something?
I think it was like 3-0. I think it was legit.
It was an insane game. Yeah, wow.
I remember that game. I'm going to have to say that the 49ers, that spread is too big for me to jump on it. I think it's going to be a little bit closer just because 49ers still – I'm going as of now that Kittle will be out. So with Kittle out, I'm going to just say that it should be like more like a 4 or 5 point spread. But I still think that the 49ers handily beat them. Just like it's not going to be a close game, but it'll be a close game. It'll seem close.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Niners here also. Even with Kittle out, and like Rocky said, the weather at the Bears, just you can't really prove anything from that. So I'm gonna go with the Niners here as well. And we'll move on to our next game with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Super Bowl losers, visiting the the Dakless Cowboys in Dallas.
Dakless, I like that.
All right, Yehuda, you gonna ride with Joey B?
Yeah, I'm going Joey B. I do like Joe Burrow. I like Joe Mixon. I just like the Bengals. That's why I took them in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I also am not a Cowboys guy. I wasn't even really a Dak guy, to be honest. Now that he's injured, I feel like they might just start falling apart. Who's the sub for him? Who's gonna start throwing? Cooper Rush. I love that name, but I just don't think
such a sick name, right?
Cooper Cup. I love if they had a combo somehow, some way in the future, some alternative timeline. Cooper Rush throwing the sick. Oh yeah, I'm going. Bengals. They gotta be. I love B. Great guy. I don't know. I assume.
Bengals should win, like you said. Dakless Cowboys. They threw 4 or 5 turnovers and still almost won against a tough divisional opponent. So even in Dallas, they should be and beat them pretty handily.
Yeah, Morty's and I lock of the week was the Bengals money line. I'm feeling pretty confident to the point where I'm actually going to pick the big 8.5 point line. I just think the Bengals, everyone's overreacting over what happened in Pittsburgh, or in Cincinnati rather, last week. Again, the Steelers give everyone trouble. Discussed this earlier. We knew they were going to, in a division matchup, they were going to give them trouble not to win the game, but it didn't overly shock me that the game was close. My point being, Joe Burrow won't have 5 turnovers again. No Dak Prescott. Without Michael Gallup potentially, so you have CeeDee Lamb and James Washington as your number 2 receiver. Give me the Bengals to hit that 8.5 point line.
There's a lot of question marks surrounding the Bengals this week as well. A couple injuries, things to look out for, but nothing that should be like, ooh, they can't do this. Yeah. Honestly, the Bengals, this is a Vegas overreaction in my opinion. They're not giving the Bengals enough credit. They still have Joey Burrow. They still have Jamar Chase. They still have Eli Apple on defense. Okay.
Eli Apple.
He's not on their team. Oh, he's not on their team anymore?
Yeah, they cut him.
Oh, that sucks. So see, now I don't know. Now I have to go with the Cowboys. No, I think the Bengals should be able to cover this one, but I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
What team is Eli Apple on now?
I'm not. Let me just look it up.
Wait, it's saying that he's still on the Bengals. I totally thought they cut him. I think
He is on the Bengals.
I mean,
Yeah.
Apple's agent must be because he gets traded every year. So
Yeah, like,
Giants, Saints. I mean,
He's just
is he good or
he's just collecting all the signing bonuses.
Yeah. he was supposed to go to the Raiders, and then the Raiders realized that he's Eli Apple.
I feel like sometimes these guys' ages because they just keep him in the NFL somehow. But like some, you know what I'm saying? Like some of these players, you see, like, how are you in the NFL still?
Yeah.
All right. With that, I think I'm also gonna take the Bengals, like we said. You know, I don't overthink it. Just go with the Bengals. And we can move on to our next matchup. We've got the Houston Texans without a loss coming into week 2. Without a technical win either, but with a tie last week, I think they
Lateral step.
Yeah.
They're actually undefeated. They've not been
They're
defeated
undefeated against the
Undefeated?
reeling Denver Broncos. They're in Denver, mile high. They're traveling north, I think. I don't know. It's geography. But anyways, the Broncos are favored by 10 points. Yehuda, is that spread too big?
That spread is. I would never take it, but I do think they're on the right track. I think Vegas is on the right track. Denver, I don't see a universe where the Texans win. I just don't believe in them. And I do, even though I think Russell Wilson is a little overrated and he's a little old now, and I don't know if he's as good as he was in his prime. I still believe that Javonte Williams, Judy, like they have some weapons, they have a solid defense, and it's in Denver. I can't see a world where the Texans, beat them right now. So I'll go money line Denver.
Yep, everything you just said, totally agree. And it's their home opener, so they should win. Don't know if it's going to be 10 points, but yeah. Broncos are going to win.
Who's going to have? What did you say?
Yeah. You can get an arbitrage probably where you get like 10 points plus 10 for the what's it called?
Yeah.
The Texans, and then you just wait till it's going to move for sure to like minus. You can get like both or something, get like the arbitrage.
No, that's possible. I was waiting for someone to have the guts to pick the Texans for this game, but it's not going to be me. I definitely don't. Again, to predict the Texans to be in first place after this week and then the Broncos to be in last place, I don't know if I'm seeing that one. I think Russell Wilson might take time to gel with this offense, but there's too many playmakers there. Russell Wilson's still too good, still top 10 quarterback as far as I'm concerned, unless he just completely falls off a cliff this year. I'm going with the Broncos as well.
You can give me any quarterback practically in the league and put him on the Texans, and I'll still pick the Broncos to win. So bad. Their coaching is so bad. They should have just taken the loss and just been like, all right, we'll take the loss last week, call it a day. Hate ties.
For the draft pick anyway.
Yeah, anyone who ties is just stupid. So with that, I'm gonna have to take Broncos money. The Broncos money line.
Let's get this. I thought you were going to say with that, I'm going to take the Texans.
Yeah. I'm going to go Broncos here also. I think Russell Wilson's embarrassed from last week. He called Seattle a hostile environment. Get out of here. Like, he's being a babe. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's just going to come back here.
That?
Russell Wilson.
Said that?
Russell Wilson said
Really?
that Seattle is a hostile environment.
He's married to. He's married to. Like, they always do these weird videos.
Kiara. She's like a pop singer. Ciara, she's a pop singer. All right. We're gonna move on to our last Sunday afternoon game. This one is probably my game of the week in terms of like excitement.
Really?
I think this is gonna be very good, high scoring, lots of action in this game. The Cardinals go to Vegas to play the Raiders. I think this is two great quarterbacks, two teams. The Cardinals are looking for something to prove here. Which way are you leaning?
I love the Raiders. I always liked the Raiders just as a team, as a franchise. In Vegas, the black hole, it's just a vibe. So I'm going Raiders. I also love Devontae Adams, and I like Josh Jacobs. And I think Derek Carr is definitely underrated. I don't know if he's that good, but I think people gave him a lot of hate for. I don't know if he's deserved any of it. So I'm going Raiders for sure. I'm honestly not such a fan of. What was I gonna say? Who they're playing again? Yeah, I like Murray, but I don't think the Cardinals are that good. They always kind of seem a little sloppy. I never see them play where it's like a sick game where they're like everything they're doing is good. I always kind of feel like they're a little janky. Without D-Hop, like, can they really do it? I don't know. They don't seem that strong ever. So I'm going Raiders all day. Who's favorite?
The Raiders are favorite.
Sorry, Raiders by 5.5.
I'll take Raiders.
Devontae got 17 targets last week, and Patrick Mahomes just destroyed this Cardinals secondary without Tyreek Hill. pretty, like obviously they have Kelsey, but pretty average wide receivers. And Devontae is just going to go absolutely ham on the secondary. And they are going to rip up the Cardinals. Their defense is so bad. Like, obviously, it's the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are a whole other animal, but the Raiders have that level of star. They have Darren Waller, they have Renfro, they have Devontae Adams, they have an okay-ish running game. Derek Carr is not Patrick Mahomes, but he should be able to find Devontae a lot. And for fantasy, this is gonna be an absolute boon.
Is Waller out?
No, he's playing. He's fine now because he just got a new contract. He's fighting.
The amount of weapons they have right now, it's kind of nuts. I mean, they got guys.
Gonna crush the Cardinals.
Well, the Cardinals definitely have to adjust their defensive strategy over there in the secondary if they're going to want to have any chance of it. Because you're right, they don't have a very talented secondary to begin with. And then I don't know what the heck that was last week against the Chiefs. But point being that, you got a high-flying Raiders team over here. You got Devontae Adams with, 17 targets last week. It was absolutely nuts. They're going to continue to feed the man. They're going to have no response for it, the Cardinals. Going with the Raiders as well. Let's go Vegas.
I'm going to join the train on this Vegas train. I mean, Kyler Murray has yet to prove himself to be anything, and he just collects paychecks now, so he really has nothing to play for. And the new Call of Duty's coming out soon, so he's probably watching the hype.
4 hours, unobstructed film study.
I really want to take the Cardinals here, but again, I really like Derek Carr. I think he's got his weapons. It's gonna be hard to bet against the Raiders here, especially Cardinals from last week, like Rocky said. So give me the Raiders straight up. And with that, we can move on to Sunday night game, a classic matchup. The Bears visit Wisconsin to pay their rent to their landlord, Aaron Rodgers. We have the Bears at the Packers. Packers favored by 10 points.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Too much points, but I was saying, Aaron Rodgers last week, he was on my fantasy team, did nothing. But he owns that city. He owns every player in every jersey. It doesn't matter. You could be a retired 50, 60-year-old Chicago player, and he still owns you. I mean, he's the guy. So I would never bet against Aaron Rodgers in Chicago ever. Taking him, not the spread, because that's a little excessive, I think. But I'm definitely taking him money line.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like they're paying rent. The Packers are paying rent when they go into Chicago, but if they own it, they're not paying any rent. So, the Packers, Aaron Rodgers is really paying. They seem to do this where they lose week 1 literally last year, and then still ended up I think 13-4. So I don't think they're gonna be that good this year, but they own the Bears, and so they're gonna win.
It's like the Bears are paying rent in their own city because Aaron owns
that. Yes, that's a perfect analogy.
The Packers are just much like last week. They got shellacked by the Saints in Week 1, and we were all overreacting to that. But this year, there's probably a little more reason to overreact because they don't have Devontae Adams anymore. They don't have the receivers there anymore. So like you said, Yehuda, I don't know if they're going to be as good this year, but I still think they're going to win this division. Despite what we saw last week out of the Vikings and, Packers look like trash, they have one of the best defenses in football. That'll shine through. Aaron Rodgers is still the best quarterback in this division. I think the Packers are going to win this one as well.
Wow, no faith in the Bears. Neither do I.
Yeah, I knew that was happening.
No faith in the Bears. But I think that this game is going to be within 10, that's for sure. But I think that Rodgers will never, like Morty said, rent is due, and he's coming to collect. And especially after, even in the offseason, he continued to talk a little bit about the Bears and kind of reiterate that he owns them. I think that he's coming to collect, and he'll figure it out. One way or another, some guy will come off the bench to catch some Hail Mary or something on one or another. But whatever Aaron Rodgers needs to happen will get done.
All right, yeah, I think Lazard is going to come off the bench after being out week 1, and just catch every pass. I don't think Rodgers is going to throw it to anyone else.
They need a guy to be their guy to catch stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the easy Packers here. And we'll move on to a very interesting Monday night. I can't remember anything ever being like this before, but we've had 2 Monday night games. We have a 7:15 game. We have the Tennessee Titans playing the red-hot Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Bills favored by, I think, a very, very accurate 10 points. Did the Titans have any chance to cover this spread?
I think they do, just because I feel like the Titans Bills. I feel like wasn't. I feel like last time they played it was kind of close. I don't remember, but I do think the
Monday Night
Titans.
Football. Fantastic game.
I think the Titans are underrated. Also, they're kind of scrappy in a good way, not in like the bad way, like the Cardinals are. So I'm taking Bills money line straight because I love Josh Allen, love the Bills, love every aspect of their team, city. But I do think I don't think the Titans are so bad, and I never want to go against that like Derrick Henry. You know, he always could do damage. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the Titans are so bad. They just lost
Really?
to the Giants at home, and they could have won, with a game-winning kick, but they end up winning. Fat Randy not come through in the clutch. But the Bills are an absolute juggernaut, and Derrick Henry obviously is very scary, but he had 21 carries for 82 yards, so he's hitting a little less than 4 yards per carry. Is this the beginning of the end for Derrick Henry? It happens for running backs. He hurt his foot last year. Was out for the whole second half of the season. Then came back for the playoffs and didn't look right. So maybe this is the beginning of the end, and the Bills are so deep. They just obliterated the defending Super Bowl champions, and that when they're having turnovers that should not have happened.
yeah, too easy. Too easy of a game.
Yeah, so I think in their stadium, in LA, on their Super Bowl presentation night. So that just the Bills terrify me. So I think their home opener, they're 10. I'm obviously nervous to take that 10, but if I was a betting man, and I am, and if I had a spread left, I would take that. They're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns.
You have two spreads. You have 2 spreads, Yehuda. You only use one.
Let's take it. Let's take it. Let's do it.
Minus 10?
Minus 10. Let's take it.
Okay. Yeah, listen, Morty, by the way, a couple of years ago, they did a doubleheader on Monday Night Football to begin the season in week 1. I think they started that custom for a couple of years, but then they fell off of it. The strange thing is why they're doing it in week 2. That's
right?
a little random, right? I don't really understand this. I'm sure this is a
Monday night game this week.
Yeah, we'll get to the other one in a second, but it's very interesting. Yeah, listen, I don't think the Titans are that bad. I mean, let's not overreact to losing to the Giants week 1. It's bad, don't get me wrong, but the Colts tied to the Texans, and we still expect them to win the division. I mean, neither of them look very good. The Colts tied to the Texans. The Texans are just as bad, if not worse, than the Giants. So, let's not forget about that so quickly. Bottom line is, I don't know if I'm going to bet against the Bills the entire season. They're just way too good all around. Top 5 defense, top 5 offense. I think that Eagles winning formula over there in Buffalo. So I'm going with the Bills as well.
Yeah, I mean, 2 things that come to mind here. One is Yehuda Edelstein last year. I kept saying that the Titans were the worst 1 seed ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
the worst best team.
The worst best team, correct.
Right.
Yep.
And so we're just going to say that they are the worst team. And Buffalo, I mean, this was the Meistys Moneyline, lock of the locks of locks, which, by the way, we forgot to mention. Please bet responsibly. If you want a refund, please contact your local sports book. Do not come to us for your money back. We don't have any. But the Buffalo spread was on the Meistys Money Locks, and I think I'm not going to pick this one. I have one more to pick. I'm going to use it for the next game, but Buffalo should win by 20 plus points here. I mean, Josh Allen's he's on a mission. It's one of those revenge games for him that he just wants to tear through somebody.
Yeah, I think every quarterback has nightmares of playing against Josh Allen in any game, any given Sunday. So I think this is an easy Bills pick.
I feared Nick Foles more, but okay.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Nick Foles. That's true. Having like you're prepared to play against a team, and all of a sudden the quarterback gets injured, and who's the backup? Nick Foles.
Yeah. Terrifying.
Shaking in their boots.
Tough prospect.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't see the Bills as like a value play if you're betting it, but we're picking them, so Bills take this. Run all the way home. Okay, now our real primetime Monday night game. I was scrolling down the screen here, and I was like, okay, Monday's games, and I see Tennessee Titans at 7:15. I was like so confused, but don't worry, the Vikings are going into Philly to play the Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 2.5. I think this is a great matchup. I also think the color schemes are really good also. I'm not sure what they're going to be wearing, but I feel like the purple and the green, like the deep forest green and like a purple, I feel like it's a good like Color Wars kind of type stuff. Yeah, like Hulk. Yeah.
A good one. I like
Hulk,
it.
Exactly. So, Yehuda, what are you thinking here?
I like the Eagles. Love Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown on the team. Obviously, is going to be a big plus. Like Devontae Smith didn't get like a catch. I think he got one look or something, and they still did well. And Miles Sanders is good. I guess he's gonna be the main guy. They've been always switching out. I think they've been switching around different people. He's the main guy, right? He's the main back.
Yeah. Sanders is RB1.
And Dallas Goedert, he's healthy.
Yep.
AJ Brown.
I mean, I'm going Eagles here. I just like the Eagles, even though I do think the Vikings are obviously not awful. Justin Jefferson's a legend, but I'm going Eagles because I love Jalen Hurts and I love AJ Brown. And I think they can do it.
Yeah,
Money line.
I think this is a sneaky good game. I wasn't super excited for it when I saw this as a Monday night game, but now seeing these two teams in week 1, they both had very exciting performances. I like their offenses and love, like you said, Justin Jefferson is a legend. He could legitimately go for 2,000 yards this season. He's that good. But Kirk Cousins in prime time, that's what it would come down to for me. And obviously Philly at home, I got to take Philly, and I think he's going to end up with one of those games where he has like 175 yards passing and 2 picks because he just decides not to show up because the bright lights are on.
Yeah, you mentioned Devontae Smith, 4 targets last week and no receptions. I mean, how the heck did that happen, right? And AJ Brown just pulled through, and maybe there's some concerns about the Eagles letting the Lions get back in there, but I'm not so overly concerned about it. Jalen Hurts with 90 rushing yards, AJ Brown with 100 and $170 something receiving yards. I mean, that's a dynamic duo. Philly orchestrated their offense exactly the way they want to do it throughout the season last week, and I think they're going to continue to have success on offense for sure. Defense will be a little better than they played last week down the stretch. I'm looking for the Eagles to grab this win.
We love them birds, baby. We love them birds.
Yeah.
So we're just going
Cards apparently.
Fly Eagles fly, right?
One of my favorite bets of the week right here are betting against the hot Vikings, and everyone's pumped about them, and like I've said earlier in the day, they have an amazing offense, but at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins has to show up for that offense to produce. Can't come from some Dalvin Cook, even though he's very good, but that's not where they're going to win the game. They're going to win the game through Kirk Cousins throwing the ball correctly. And as Yehuda mentioned, he does not show up when the lights are on, so we're going to have to go with the Eagles. We'll go with the Eagles
only wins
too.
He never wins these prime time. He only wins.
Only if he's playing. Only when they're playing the Packers.
Yeah. Otherwise, he never wins. Only against the Packers in prime time.
Yep.
Meist, you got the spread, right? 2.5?
Yeah, spread.
He lost to Cooper Rush last year. He lost to Cooper freaking Rush.
Crazy.
It's about to be probably one of the next 7 teams the Cowboys play. One of those teams will go home saying, "Damn, we just lost to Cooper Rush."
Yeah.
It's a cool name, but terrible quarterback.
Well, if I lost to Cooper Rush, I'd be like, all right.
Things could be worse. You could be the Lions.
Yeah.
Always be the Lions.
Chico Smith.
Yeah. This is obviously going to be a no-brainer for me. Give me the Eagles all the way. Fly, Eagles, fly. And I think that wraps it up. There are no more Monday night games. That's it. Just these 2. So I think that'll do it for our pick'ems this week. Thank you very much, Yehuda Edelstein, for joining us.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Any projects you want to shout out to like all 10 listeners we have?
Go to Almoni on Spotify.
Stream Almoni.
How do you spell it?
ALMONI.
We'll drop the link in the description.
Best rapper in the game.
Best Jewish Orthodox rapper.
I put the
So
spray on the map.
before we wrap this up, 2 questions. Number 1, Morty, you're not picking Eagles line. You picked 3 lines already, so you don't have to. But if you want to exchange one out,
No, let's just keep it Eagles straight up.
okay. And Yehuda, you didn't pick a line yet, so we can figure that out after the podcast. Because you only picked 2. Spreads. You only picked 2 spreads.
Yeah, I took the.
You took the Panthers. You took the Bills.
I took the Browns also. I took the Browns over the.
You're taking the Browns. What's the Browns?
5.5.
5.5. Okay, perfect. All right, so I guess Yehuda Edelstein. Thank you. Yehuda Abaddon too. Thank you for joining us as well. But Yehuda Edelstein, thank you for joining us, and Morty, thank you for running the show over here. Gave me a little break. I was able to do some research and get some stuff done behind the scenes. So that was awesome. That was a great show. Thank you for joining us. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the results happen after another weekend of football. starting tomorrow night. It's like a lot of times Thursday night the game's not so great, but we got Chargers Chiefs to lead off this weekend of football. Gotta love it. Let's have more good Thursday night games. Everyone enjoy the games. Enjoy another weekend, week 2 of NFL football, baby.